Myself, Sakshi Verma, student of Lovely Professional University, pursuing computer science and engineering, specialized with artificial intelligence and data engineering. Here I am to introduce and explain you ER diagram, that is entity relationship diagram. So I'm going to explain you this with an example. So I'm going to take the example of Apna app. Now let us see what is Apna app, what is it about. The Apna app is a versatile platform that revolutionizes job searching. It focuses on connecting workers from various industries and offers features that enable easy job discovery, skill enhancement, and community building. So basically, this application is convenient for candidates who are looking for jobs. It connects the candidates to the communities, companies and industries they are looking for, and companies, industries looking for candidates. So I think this is a thing I'm going to explain this ER diagram. The very first question is, what is ER diagram? What is entity relationship diagram? What are we going to learn today? So it is basically it describes the structure of database with the help of diagram. And next question arises, why ER diagram? Why is it necessary to learn or draw or make it? Then the answer to the question is essential for modeling the data stored in the database. Like it helps us to understand better. You know, diagrams helps us understand better how the database is stored or anything which we do. Now the next thing is entities. What are entities? This is a piece of data that is stored in the database. We are going to learn further about this. In entities, we have the further point that is attributes. What are attributes? Represent this represent the characteristics of properties of entities or objects stored in database. Now let's learn what is this. So here we go. This is our application. Now, the very first entity, the piece of data we have is user entity. Then the next one we have is profile entity. We'll just write the name of entity here. And the other one we have is skill entity. Now, attributes. If we talk about attributes, in database we also have primary keys, foreign keys, and so what is primary key? Primary key basically it has each column has a unique value and none of the column is null in this primary key. What is foreign key? Foreign key is basically primary key of the other table used in identity table like yes. So user entity. The attributes we have is user ID. Then the next attribute we have is username. Then again, the other attribute we have is email. So as I told you, the primary key, like each entity has its own primary key. So in user, what can be the primary key here? Yes, user ID. So user ID is the primary key here. Each and every user has its own unique ID and the value cannot be null in any case. Then we have user name. Then we have us. Then additional attributes like we need everything in detail. So additional attributes we have is the first name, the email, classmate is also an attribute here. EB. Then we have date of birth. Then we have profile picture of the user. Then we have phone. So if we see, this is the user entity and these are the attributes here. The user ID is the primary key here. Now when we go to the profile entity, we have attributes like profile ID. Then we have user ID. See, before I talked about foreign key. So here user ID is the foreign key. Like in user entity, user ID is the primary key and we're using the same thing in profile entity as a foreign key. Profile ID here is the primary key. Additional attributes we have here are work experience of the user and so on. Then we have skills. Then we have education qualification, certifications, and interests. So your user entity and profile entity is done. So now we have like let us add all the entities we have first. Skill entity, then we have job entity, then we have company entity like then we have message entity like when candidate contacts and communicate with the company, industry, or any kind of community, that message entity we have a different database, a different data source, and we have the community entity. Then we have group member. Then we have company entity. Then we have senior. Then we have review. Then we have like this, we have so many entities. And each entity has lots of attributes, like as I have told here. Then we have in skill attribute skill ID and name of the skill and category. So here skill ID is the primary key. Now if we go to the job we have entities as job ID, title, description, after title we have description, then we have location, where it is company is located, salary, employee ID, company ID, and the additional attributes here are remote contact type. Now, when we go to company entity, here attributes we have are company ID, then we have name, then we have location, then we have industry, category industry, company falls, and description of a company, and then logo of the company, website. So in company ID and is the primary key here. And now when we go to the message entity, we have attributes message ID because each and every single message has its own ID. Then we have sender ID. Sender ID is the foreign key. Then we have recipient ID. Then we have content, what kind of content. Then we have timestamp. At what time the message was sent. The additional attributes here are subject, and I don't feel like everything is explained. Now when we go to community ID, the attributes here we have is community ID, name of the community, description of the community. And these are the attributes. The additional attributes is what type of community it is. Now, when we go to the group member entity, we have user ID, and this is primary key as well as foreign key here. Now, when we go to the community ID, and that's it. Now, when we group member, we have one more entity that is collection entity. Here we have attributes as connection ID. Then we have user ID 1, user ID 2. These are the foreign keys, user ID 1 and user ID 2. These are taken from the other tables. Now then we have status of the connections. Then company ID, we have attributes as now next we have notification entity. And notification entity, the attributes are notification ID. Then we have user ID, message ID, then we have after message ID, we have type address. Type address, then we have C, like what runs C or like that. Now we have our feedback entity. So here we have feedback ID, then we have user ID, then we have message ID, and date on which the feedback was filled or feedback was submitted. Then we have review ID. Review ID, then we have user ID. So review ID is a primary key here and user ID is a foreign key. Job ID is also a foreign key here because as job ID is a primary key of job entity and we have taken attributes from job entity here. So this is a foreign key here. And rating and review. Now, last but not the least, application entity. Attributes is I have this, you have already know application ID is the primary key, which are null, and which have its unique value, unique value. This is user ID, and then we have job ID, then we have status of the application, and then we have application date. And then we have application date, on which date it was applied. Then we have cover. So this is the mind map of what entity and what are attributes. So now let's revise it again. So user is an entity, attributes here are the piece of data. Now this user ID is the primary key. Okay, then we have profile entity, then we have skill entity, job entity, then we have company entity, message, community, group member, connection, notification, feedback, review, and last but not the least, application entity. So just now I have explained what are the entities, attributes, taking an example of Apna app. Now I am going to explain the relation between the entities. Like each and every entity has a relation with the other one. If I take an example like of a hospital, like a doctor treats the patient. So here, treating the patient, treat is the relation between a doctor and a patient. If I come to my own example, which I have been explaining since long, so here it is. I explained you what by the help of a mind map, and this is a relationship. Like job is a relationship between a candidate and the company. So hope you like the video and learn something, and hope this video was quite productive for you. Thank you and bye bye.